to Series English Grammar. Today we are going to touch upon a very important issue in English grammar, and that is modal verbs of obligation. But before explaining the meaning of different verbs, modal verbs, I would like to explain to you the difference between a modal verb and an equivalent of a modal verb. So you should know the difference. And we are not going to talk about the meaning because usually the meaning is quite close, but we are going to talk about grammatical stuff. Yeah, what is different in grammatical sense between modal verbs and equivalents. First of all, I should say that after modal verbs, before an infinitive, we do not use a particle to, and vice versa. When we take into consideration equivalents of modal verbs, then actually you are supposed to use a particle to. For instance, I'm sorry, I must go. So no particle to, and I'm sorry, I have to go. So here it is, to. Now the second difference is that modal verbs do not usually have future forms. They don't have such forms. However, sometimes they can be used in the meaning of future. Speaking about past forms, some of the modal verbs do not have them, but some do. For example, can, could, may, might. However, for modal verbs there is a formula which helps us to use them in the meaning of the past. And it is the following. So first of all there goes the modal verb, then you see and then you use a perfect infinitive, that is have plus past participle. So, and speaking about equivalents of modal verbs, they have all the grammatical forms, all forms of all the tenses that exist, yeah, because they are like any other regular verb, nothing specific, nothing strange or unusual. Now let's start with must. Must is a very strong modal verb. It has a very strong meaning. So I must do something. It means that, well, I have no other variants. I really must do it, and it's strong obligation. So in this case you also should remember that you understand this obligation and you actually agree with it. However, when we talk about the equivalent have to, here you do not agree with the obligation, but some circumstances imply this obligation, and some circumstances make you do this or that. So you don't agree, you do not understand this obligation, but you don't have any other variants here.
Alright, I think we're going to need some ground rules. In addition to the expected no shoes in the time machine and no eating in the time machine, I propose that we add pants must be worn at all times in the time machine.
Pants must be worn at all times. So the speaker realizes the importance of it, and that everybody is obliged to wear pants at all times when using this time machine.
4 months into med school, and we were getting on each other's nerves. Cole was especially good at it. Cole, you're wearing my scrubs. I had to wear the ones my mom made me.
Babe, you know girl scrubs make my ass pop.
That is so stupid. Damn.
I had to wear the ones my mom made me, so the person is not actually very happy about it, but, well, this obligation is imposed by the circumstances. So that's the basic difference between meanings. Moreover, let's take a look at negative forms. Mustn't means you are forbidden. You just can't do that, and you understand it yourself too. And for you don't have to has a completely different meaning, because here you just don't need to do something. Yeah, you can be quite okay without doing it and no problem. So don't do it actually, because you don't need it. You don't have to do that.
And then when she didn't arrive at my home as scheduled, well, that's when I knew she was dead.
Oh, honey, no. You mustn't think like that. Martha's only missing.
No, Edie, she's dead.
All I'm saying is he's a good tenant. I don't want to lose him.
If we lose the house, we don't have to worry about losing a tenant.
I know that, but maybe we could look in some other areas.
What other areas, Rochelle? What?
So that's the difference in meanings, and now let's take a look at grammar. So the modal verb must does not have forms in future and in past. Moreover, in past, when we want to derive this idea of obligation, we should replace this modal verb with the equivalent have to. So the past of must is actually had to. It sounds a little bit ironical, but that's how it is. Because, for instance, if you say something like, you must have left your keys in the car, it's not going to mean that you are talking about any kind of obligation, but you are making an assumption and you are talking about something possible in the past, so it's very different. Don't make such a mistake. Actually, I have already devoted one of my lessons to this meaning of must, and if you are interested, you can watch it. It's Modal Verbs, Part 1. Okay, and well, speaking about the equivalent have to, it has all the forms possible. You can use them no problem. Now let's take a look at the examples and revise the material I have just taught you.
And that's how Robin and I ended up together. Turns out all I had to do was make it rain. As I rode home the next morning, the city looked the same, the people looked the same, it all looked the same, but it wasn't. In just one night, everything had changed.
I think we need to start entertaining the possibility that the shaming could go on for years.
Well, if that's the case, Penny will have to get satellite TV and maybe once a week want to vacuum through this place.
Okay, that's it for today. Hope that you learned some new stuff and enjoyed this video lesson. Don't forget to keep in touch, ask questions, write to me messages. I really enjoy reading them. So, well, I hope to see you soon as usual. I pin all my hopes on that. And, well, happy English practice. Bye-bye.